In this video, we're going to look at how you assign oxidation numbers. An oxidation number is the charge. There are a set of rules which will always be provided, and those rules indicate what charges you most likely have for group 1 ions, for oxygen, for hydrogen. And in this case, we'll look at a PF6 ion and a KMnO4 molecule. First off, if you have an ion, you know that overall the charges need to be equivalent to the charge of that ion. So in this case, we need everything to be equal to -1. If you have a molecule like KMnO4, you need everything to balance out. So all of your positives need to balance out with your negatives. When we look at our rules, you can either identify a rule for 1, both, 2 out of the 3, whatever you have in terms of the ion and atom. In this case, we can identify a rule for fluoride. And the rule states for fluoride, it's always going to be a -1 charge. So that means fluorine has an oxidation number of -1 per the rules. You have 6 fluorides. So that means that you have a -1 charge times 6, so you have a total of 6 negatives. Now you have to ask yourself, how can I get the overall ion charge to be -1 if I have 6 negatives? What do you need to add to -6 to have -1? That's what you're asking yourself. And you say, all right, phosphorus, for this to work out, would have to be a +5. Because a +5 minus 6 would equal -1, which would be your charge of your overall ion. For the atom, or for the molecule, I should say, you look at the individual atoms and you say, what are our rules for an oxygen? What are our rules for manganese? What is the rule for potassium? You're usually going to have rules for 2 out of the 3. Oxygen, from our rules, is usually a -2. So we have oxygen equal to a -2, but we have 4 of them. So we have -2 times 4, so we have a total of 8 negatives that we need to balance out. Things the molecule, since we're dealing with a molecule, everything has to be neutral. There's no overall charge, like in our previous example of PF6 ion. You can look up and you identify, all right, do I have a rule for potassium or manganese? You have a rule for potassium, and it states that alkali metals, group 1 metals, are going to have a charge of +1. So we know that potassium is going to have a +1 charge. So far you're thinking to yourself, well, I have 1, I need to add some number. I'm also adding a -8, and overall I need all of that to equal 0. So 1 plus what number will cancel out my -8? Your answer is 7. So we need a charge of +7 on the manganese so that we have +1, +7, we have a total of 7 positives, we have a total of 8 negatives. Now everything is balanced out, and we now know our oxidation numbers for everything within the ion, everything within the molecule.